we combed through the data, and here's the thing. Howie Roseman does have a bit of a type at defensive tackle. Is it Walter Nolen or is it Nolen Walter? Find out next on the PHLY Eagles podcast. Welcome to the PHLY Eagles show on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Bo Wulf, Zach Berman, and we are here to talk about the big fellas inside the defensive tackles. Zach, how you doing? Good to see you.
Doing great. Thrilled to be in here. Missed yesterday. Enjoyed the shows, plural. And so excited for the draft coming up. I wish there was 3 more weeks.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right? This snuck up.
I could use a nice pause.
Yes.
One of those DuckTales things. Just pause time. I could watch all the guys I need to watch. I could get all the baby stuff done I need to get done. No show in the middle. Have a little time to breathe.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I kind of sound like Howie when he starts every post-Super Bowl year being like, we're X weeks behind everyone. We're 6 weeks behind everyone else. Yeah. Yes. But there is, in our job too, there's like a certain cadence to, you know, how you're preparing for free agency, how you're preparing for the draft. And I'm not saying I'm behind, but
if you had to be writing like, 20,000 words a day for something else, that might also have an effect.
Well, that has an effect more in terms of the sleep and I'm excited for May and June and July.
All right, sounds good. Now, speaking of defensive tackles and the NFL draft, Fran Duffy has an article up on allphly.com right now. The 10 players in the draft who are Duffy men, the guys that he loves more than consensus. You should become a diehard and check that out. And remember, there's lots more coming. There's also the Eagles 100. We're updating that bad boy whenever there's a new report out about a top 30 visit like there was today with one of the defensive tackles we're going to talk about. We just go in, we hit the yes button there, and you can sort by it. You can see all those guys. It's all streamlined for you. And I think even though it's not an I'll say thing, I think I can say happy Beastmas to you.
Absolutely. I'm like, we're all friends here. Yeah. My favorite draft guide is Fran Duffy's draft guide.
Well, you can't backtrack. You are already on the record. This is your favorite.
Well,
you know what? That's not true.
I never had access to Fran's guide.
You never said that this was your favorite guy. You just said that he was your favorite analyst.
Well, because I never had exposure to Fran as an analyst before. Okay. Fran, in this job, has been unleashed.
He's a Franalist.
No, he's been unleashed. There's so many thoughts about prospects, about the league that he wasn't able to get into in the past. So now, Fran is
you often hear the term the people who are sort of mixing the lines of journalism. They're more of a fanalist. Well, we've got ourselves a Franalist.
Franalist. No, it's like when James Harden went from Oklahoma City to Houston, and it's like, ooh, I didn't realize you were this good. Like that's what Fran's doing. But I mean, I have no qualm saying Dane is outstanding. His guide is an incredible resource, and I'm happy.
What else do you think Fran and James Harden have in common?
What else do Fran and James Harden have in common? They both like to eat.
They both. I mean, like, they both breathe air. Love strip clubs.
I don't know that about Fran. Is that the case?
I don't know that about Fran either.
Does Fran love Vegas?
I don't think so.
I can see Fran being a Vegas guy.
No, I don't think so.
No. I mean, what's there not to like about Vegas?
Mostly everything.
But to the original premise of the question, congratulations to Dane Brugler from The Athletic, because I know how much work he puts into this. He doesn't fake it.
Well, yeah, you and he did he quote you in the Rock Sanders chapter? I haven't gotten there yet.
Rocket Sanders, not Rocket.
Did he quote you there?
I haven't gotten to that one yet either, but I doubt it.
Okay, let's talk about defensive tackle.
Yes.
Before we get into what might be a bit of a preference for Howie, given his draft history here, we talked about it on Monday a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you view defensive tackle as a primary need for the Eagles heading into this draft?
So I don't view it as much of a need as edge rusher, but I do view it as a positional. It's clearly a position that the Eagles prioritize, and it's a position where long term there are questions. Jordan Davis, they haven't picked up his 5th-year option yet. We don't know if he's going to be on the team beyond this season, right? Omarr Norman-Lott, there's considerable optimism about him in the building. We don't know right now.
Got the Jeffrey Lurie bump.
Yes.
This year, every now and then there's somebody who gets that little pop in the Jeffrey Lurie owners meetings press conference, and he gives a straight call out to Omarr.
I gotta say though, if I may defend myself, I received a little heat earlier this year for not getting his name correctly. No one in that building gets their name correctly. I was
That's
listening.
True.
I was listening
Yes.
In my ride in this morning to Brandon Graham on Jason Kelsey's.
Yeah.
You might have heard Jason Kelsey has a podcast. I'm not sure if the audience knows. Brandon Graham's been with this guy for
Nobody in the building.
Yeah.
They says it correctly as far as I understand.
Yeah, so I actually don't feel as bad because it might be like
if
Johnny.
If everybody else is jumping off a bridge and yelling "Ojamo," then you can do it too.
I'm not doing that. I'm not saying that, but yeah, no one in that building seems to get the name correctly. In any event, there's optimism about him, and it's merited.
No
and
doubt.
As Professor Selman pointed out, he was really intruding on or imposing even on Milton Williams' playing time.
Infringing, perhaps.
Infringing. That's a good word too. But to the question, you don't know what this is going to look like, and this is an organizational priority. They lost snaps in Milton Williams. Howie Roseman loves him, a good young D tackle that we'll get into. And so if you have the opportunity to land one, and I think they could, I don't view it as a need. I view it as a priority. And I think those are two important distinctions, because I think too often this time of year, and we've seen this in the past at running back and linebacker, there's too much attention to the Eagles with need and not as much attention to priority. And Howie Roseman has been clear about this. All things being equal, he'll go with the line. He'll go with the line of scrimmage, and I think that is especially the case this year.
Yeah, to me, I view defensive tackle for them more as, like you are saying, if there is a really good defensive tackle who they like, they're not going to be shy to use that position because they prioritize it. But I don't think that it is we need to have it.
No.
Because of all the things we said, and as we talked about on Monday, like, I think they want Jordan Davis to play a little bit more.
Yes.
They love Omarr. Jalen Carter is not going to play any less. So already that's 3 guys who are going to play a lot of snaps.
And they think Booker can play too.
And Now I like Thomas Booker a lot. I don't think that Thomas Booker is changing their draft plans necessarily, but I think they would like to add somebody to that room. But I don't think that this is a case of like, man, we need to replace Milton Williams. I think that they have internal replacements for a lot of what Milton Williams brought them.
Absolutely. I think they can play a game tomorrow at D tackle and be good. There are certain positions like safety and tight end where I think they do need to add before the start of the season. Like who they have on the roster is not sufficient for high level play if Dallas Goedert's not back at tight end.
Sure.
But D tackle, I think they can go into on September 4th, week 1, and play with this group and feel confident in this group.
That's true, Zach. You know what else is true? True Mark.
There you go. Well
Thank
done.
you to True Mark for sponsoring this episode and every episode heading into the draft. Our dear friends at True Mark. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, here are the defensive tackles who Howie Roseman has drafted, Zach, over the course of his career. Fletcher Cox.
Mm-hmm.
Benny Logan and Bo Allen. Those were both chip years, so maybe a little bit differently. Elijah Qualls. Marlon Tuipulotu, Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, Omarr Norman-Lott, Jalen Carter. Any connective thread there? I think there is. To me, all of those guys, and I think you could put Bo Allen and Benny Logan to the side, but it applies to them as well. These are all traitsy guys with upside. Every single one of them, 22 years old as a rookie, except for Benny Logan, who was 23. So no olds. You are thinking of this is a position where we want guys who have like the Howie Roseman tools in their body that you can't find anywhere else. Ujima was a player who was very young, right? Came in young, and I think they thought had room to grow. And to me, I actually wonder if Fletcher Cox's career has something to do with the way that Howie Roseman views this, that this is a position where you can bank on some upside, and guys are going to grow into their grown man strength. And if they already have it at 21, 22 years old, that's only more indicative of the ceiling that they could have.
Well said. I think there's a thought. This is a position in particular where you can't teach tools. You can't teach body. You can't make someone bigger. You can't make someone stronger. You can't make someone more athletic. You can't kind of add some of those tools. So the God-given ability at D tackle, I think, is something that they really
you can turn them into a better technician.
Yes, exactly.
Let's take the more impressive ball of clay.
Exactly.
I think that is the way that they view this position. And so we will go through this. We'll go through the defensive tackles, but now Darius Alexander is a slightly different case. He's 25 years old, but I think we can toss him out as a potential Eagles fit. I think even guys who are sort of fully formed and already are who they are, like Ty Robinson, he's a great athlete, but he's going to be 24 years old. I don't think he's going to make sense. Even an Alfred Collins, maybe this is a guy who has some kind of unique traits, but I don't know that that's going to be an Eagles type. And we can also get into, Zach, whether you think if they want a defensive tackle, if it's more of a Jordan Davis backfill, like a potential nose tackle guy, or is it more of a Milton Williams backfill, a third down slasher who can penetrate? But I think that it is something to keep in mind at this position for Howie Roseman's predilections.
You're absolutely right, and it's why we've talked about D tackle in the first round. There's a good video up right now about Walter Nolen. You can check that out.
And by the way, it is Walter Nolen.
And I would say too, this is not the same type of class as the edge rushers. I know there's this thought this is a really good pass rusher class, and it is. I think it's deeper on the edge than it is on the interior. And you'll see that with the volume of first-round picks. I think you'll see that with the volume of top 50 picks as well.
I love these edges.
I love this edge rushing class. I do.
Okay. All right, let's start, and we'll go through Fran's top 10, which, of course, you can read on allphly.com if you are a diehard. Starts with Mason Graham at the top, the man from Michigan who can't quite reach the top shelf, but is otherwise a very good football player, 21 years old. Going to be a top 10 pick. I don't know that we need to spend too much time, but you're a Michigan man. Do you like Mason Graham?
Yeah, really like the playing style. Tough player, makes an impact in games. What is he from? Servite, I believe Servite High School.
I believe you.
And he's been productive there. The Eagles aren't going to trade up for him. He'll be off the board in the top 10, 12 picks.
We have talked about, I have made the Travis Hunter, Justin Hunter mix up. I find it confusing that Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, the two Michigan defensive tackles, both first names, both last names start with G. Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant. I mean, how many first names can you have for defensive tackles?
Well, I think Eagles fans will like watching Mason Graham play because he's Graham 55 at Michigan.
Oh.
Right? You kind of put that together.
There you
go. This was pre-NIL.
Are they related?
They're not related.
Okay.
Or not that
as far as you know.
Not that I'm aware of. Brandon Graham has a children's book coming out, by the way, in May.
I heard.
Look forward to getting that. And so Mason Graham he's more of the traditional defensive tackle, if you will, where he's more versatile. Kenneth Grant is more of the nose tackle, I would say.
Yes, and we will get to him in a little bit, but I think that's fair. Okay, now should we mention the where they are in a Brugler rank versus a Fran rank?
I'll leave that to you.
I think that's worthwhile.
Are we creating a competition here?
We're going with Fran's. I think it's just a good because now listen. I think that God knows, Dane is unbelievable. I think Dane is presenting a little bit more a consensus rank, right? And the rankings are pegged to the draft order, whereas Fran is giving you his rankings specifically, and then he's also, if you click into the players, giving you a projected round. And so I think it's a good way of sort of framing where guys are with Fran versus consensus. And so let's talk about Walter Nolen.
I also don't think this is not like a Schefter rap sheet situation. This is more like Howie Roseman, and who's a contemporary who like Howie's really close with Andrew Berry. Like there's respect there among the two.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Dane would say that himself.
Yes.
Dane is not trying to be the outlier necessarily on guys. He's bringing in as much information as he can and presenting what is general, not groupthink, but that's what he's doing. And he will tell you he likes guys more than that. Anyway, Walter Nolen is in Fran's write-up from today. We've talked a lot about Walter Nolen, but he's Dane's number 4 defensive tackle, 21 years old, 6.5 sacks after transferring in from Texas A&M to Ole Miss this year, 6'4", 296. One of those funny ones where the arm length was much different at the combine and his pro day. They grew like 1.5 inches.
I need to learn that.
Yeah, I mean, give us the secret.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you like Walter Nolen nearly as much as Fran does? Do you think he would be a realistic pick for the Eagles at 32?
I think that if Walter Nolen is on the board at 32, this is a run the card up to
like you at a valet,
like me at a valet. Walter Nolen,
valet car service. Get your mind out of the gutter.
What else are we thinking of? A valet.
There are other kinds of valets. I can explain it to you later.
Okay. I'm trying to think. Okay. So Walter Nolen is, first off, he's really productive. It's not just an upside play.
Yeah.
And we talked about this. He was a first-team All-American. Recruiting pedigree, the size, the athleticism, the play strength. But then you see the tools and you think that there's a ceiling there where I don't think it's unrealistic that when we talk about the way I framed it for Pierce was that he could be a first-team All-Pro. I think Walter Nolen, the upside is first-team All-Pro.
And so do you think that the Eagles are more interested in adding a player like Walter Nolen who can wreak havoc as a pass rusher? Or do you think that they are more interested in, we will get to Kenneth Grant, a player like that who can potentially replace Jordan Davis or free up Jordan Davis in a different way?
No, I think that they would be more apt to take the Fletcher Cox type because I think one of the prevailing lessons from Jordan Davis is that it's a stretch to project pass rush ability, right? And so we talked about it then. If Jordan Davis, if the scenario is if he's just your prototypical nose tackle, that's not worth the 14th pick in the draft. I'm not sure that's worth the 32nd pick in the draft either.
True.
Now, if it's a nose tackle plus,
I think some guys we talk about on day 3.
Exactly.
I think that is something they might be interested
in. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
I agree with you. I think on the first 3 days they want someone with some pass rush juice.
Yeah. So if you're spending your 32nd overall pick or thereabouts plus 10 minus 15 if they trade back or they move up, they're doing it for a penetrating D tackle.
I think that's probably right.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll get back. We'll talk a little bit more Walter Nolen. We got a lot of guys to get to. Actually, I want to ask you a big picture Eagles draft question before we even get into that, Zach. But all of that's coming after this break. Well, guess what? Chicken butt. And it's time to talk about game time.
You cracked Joy up.
That is true. You did laugh also. Listen, it's not. I know that like money is fluctuating these days. It's not going to cost you that much to get to a Sixers game right now. And if you
is true.
And if you really, really want to make sure that you pay as little as possible, Game Time is the place to do it. Because if you wait and wait and wait and wait, and you prove that you are the most patient customer, guess what? You're going to get a great deal because Game Time is the place to go for last-minute tickets. Game Time has all of these fantastic things that make it the best app for buying tickets to games. They've got curated deals that make it easier to find the best price on great seats. They've got the super deal, seat views before you buy, and the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, and more. The all-in pricing, you don't get bamboozled at the end, like you think you're paying however much it is, and then you go to check out and it's an extra $35 for fees and all that stuff. No. You toggle that all-in pricing, you get it all up front, no surprise fees at the end, and you get the lowest price guarantee. So if you are a consumer like Zach, who is doing his research and making sure he's going to get the best price, you can trust it's going to be on Game Time, because if you find a cheaper one somewhere else, guess what? Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. You'll make money. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem with code PHLY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's Game Time.
Bo, Julia, I promise you during these next 2 weeks, we'll be talking a lot about floors. Okay? But we're not flooring experts. You know who's flooring experts? Empire Today. They're the flooring experts.
A+. Nicely done.
Empire Today has flooring experts. They have dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. We've all been to these big box stores where you wander these endless aisles, then somehow you're hauling all these materials home, looking for an installer and coordinating everything yourself. These big box stores might have a flooring department, but the person helping you with flooring might have been doing sinks yesterday, and they could be doing light bulbs tomorrow. They're not flooring experts. You want flooring experts. Why is Empire Today your best bet for a new floor? Well, their flooring experts bring the showroom right to your home. Pick the right flooring and the right colors for your space. See how it looks with your furniture in your house. That's convenience. Get precise measurements taken and have all your questions answered so there are no surprises. Schedule a free in-home estimate today, because some things are just better at home. PHLY listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code PHLY. Yes, you heard that right. A $350 discount with code PHLY. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/PHLY for full details.
Here's my question for you, Zach.
Yes.
I think we sort of agree that Howie's most likely ideal outcome for 32 is to move back and get some picks. Is that fair?
I do, yes. Because my qualifier here is you're more likely to have a stacked board. You're more likely not to have an outlier at 32.
Right.
You're more likely to, like the guy you're taking at 32 not to be different than 42.
But the question, and that's a good way to frame it, because how likely do you think it is that at some point around 25, 26, 27, there is a guy standing out at the top of their board, and they know they've got all these picks coming next year?
Exactly.
Maybe you could deal from that a little bit. Do you think that there is some appetite to move up in round one for Howie Roseman?
Yes. And so, look, I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth. It's breaking news. The Eagles are looking to trade, right? They'll trade up.
I saw a big national report this week that the Eagles are going to make some trades during draft weekend. Oh, boy.
Yeah. And then I love the reports, too, when it's like, Howie's looking to trade up or down. Yeah, those are the two options, right?
Imagine trading to stay.
Yeah. It's like sources are telling me Howie's looking to move up or down, right? But the scenario you outline is an accurate one. I think if there's a guy who stands out on their board, they would look to move up for two reasons. First off, they have draft inventory here, so they have flexibility both this year and next year. But I also think last year is a really good example of one of Howie's strengths, and that is he can move back day 3 very effectively. He's making so many calls to do so. Last year, they trade both those second-round picks to move up for Cooper DeJean, right? They're in kind of not a great spot. Howie went into that draft saying that he wanted to get multiple picks for this year out of it. He ended up getting an extra 4th, 5th, and 6th, I believe, right? An extra 4th, 5th, and 6th just by virtue of trading back a few spots. So in the 3rd round, he trades back with J.X. Hunt, adds draft inventory on day 4. In round 4, moves back a few times in round 4, and he was able to just collect picks. So I think that the lesson here is that when you're in the 1st round and in the 2nd round, if there's an outlier, which Cooper DeJean was an outlier last year. If let's say Tyleik Williams, who we spoke about the other day, if he's falling into that 20 to 25 range, that's the type of player you say trade up here, and you can collect. If you have to put it in a 3rd and a 5th, you can move back at some point and collect inventory.
Yeah, I think they could use that 3rd from this year and then maybe move back in round 2. I think they could use next year's third, right, or even next year's second if it was going to be a bigger move up. Now, do you think that the amount of positions on the roster that have potential starting holes changes that calculus?
No, I don't. I think that the Eagles.
This is a team that cares about blue chip players.
Yes.
Star talent, and if there's a chance to get someone who they think is a star, they'll figure out the rest.
Exactly. And I don't think they're concerned about next year's roster. Look, they are, if you look at the Vegas odds right now, they're favored to win the Super Bowl right now, right? I think that in that building, they think there's more commotion about this team than the way they view it. Now, I mean,
that's aggressive, though. I find it hard to believe that, like, Jalen Hurts could ever win a Super Bowl. But
but there is, and, like, I also think it would take a lot of hubris on their part to think that a safety you take in the 3rd round or 4th round is going to be like your solution at that position too.
True.
You want to add competition, but the reality is, I don't think they're going to take a safety in the 1st round. I don't think they're going to take a tight end in the 1st round. I'm not going to rule it out. I think that, if Loveland drops, that's a possibility. But these two,
you don't think Starks or Emanwari would be tempting for them?
I think Starks is a guy they would really like. Starks reminds me of, we'll get to it on the safety show, of Brian Branch a year ago, or I'm sorry, 2 years ago. But no, I think line of scrimmage is where they're going to look in with their top pick. If they take a safety, I think it's a trade back situation. I don't think they're spending the 32nd overall pick on a safety. I could be wrong. I just don't. I don't foresee that being the case. So unless you're now a round 2 safety, you're expecting that guy to start. A round 2 tight end, you're expecting that guy to start. But once you get beyond the 2nd round, you don't know if that guy's going to be a starting player. That guy's not plugging your need that you have.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's move on, and let's talk about guys who will Howie trade up or back. Julia just on top of it, making a poll, and it looks like 62% of respondents are saying back.
And then we have someone in the chat saying they don't want it. They'd be disappointed. Colin would be disappointed.
With what?
If the Eagles trade back, and be disappointed that the NFL Goodell would be forced to announce us as the reigning. Oh, he wants to announce us as the reigning world champs.
There you go.
Gotcha. I do remember in 2017, interestingly, that was the Carson Wentz year. And, I'm sorry. The Eagles had traded their 1st round pick. And there was a lot of conversation like, the Eagles are hosting the draft. You need to have a 1st round pick. And then Sam Bradford gets traded. The Eagles get that number 14 overall pick, and all was right in Philly.
There you go. Okay. Other possibilities at 32. So we're going to, Omarr Norman-Lott is the next guy for Fran, but we're going to jump him right now. Derrick Harmon. Actually, Fran looks like has just recently moved up Derrick Harmon.
Ooh, breaking news.
A little bit of a tweak here. Derrick Harmon, breaking news, I believe has jumped from Fran's defensive tackle 7 to his defensive tackle 3.
We should have breaking news music when that happens. Look at that.
Well, this just in. Fran Duffy has changed his defensive tackle rankings. Derrick Harmon, the former Michigan State turned Oregon defensive tackle, has risen from number 7 to number 3. We go live now to Zach Berman, our chief Fran Duffy correspondent. Zach, what do you make of this development?
Well, I think it was the right decision because I think he's better than Omarr Norman-Lott. There are some.
Thank you for the analysis. We'll be back with more.
I am higher on his on his D tackle 7 than he. I think his D tackle 7's rated too low here. But Derrick Harmon's a fine player. I don't think Derrick Harmon's the 32nd overall pick for the Eagles. But Derrick Harmon's a fine player. Do you like Derrick Harmon?
Some people love Derrick Harmon.
He's a polarizing player.
Now, for those of you who don't know, Derrick Harmon will be a 21-year-old rookie. He's Dane Brugler's number 2 defensive tackle. Had 5 sacks for Oregon this year. Transferred there after 2 years at Michigan State. 6'4.5", 313. Has some nice long 34 3/8 inch arms, big old hands. Ran a 4.95 with a 1.74 split. I watched Derrick Harmon and
underwhelmed.
I'm just watching how these guys move. Like that's what that's all I'm judging. I thought it was fine.
Yes,
I was not blown away.
Yes.
By Derrick Harmon. I did not look at him and think, oh man, there is a guy who has the tools in his body to turn into a game wrecker.
Agree with you there. Yeah, agree with you there. I think that there's certainly good size there, right? And there is an athletic profile, but he doesn't overwhelm. Like if he's your guy at 32, I would sooner trade down and see who's available at 40 or 42 and add a pick.
Fran comps him to Travis Jones.
She'll love Travis Jones coming out of UConn.
Yeah, it seems like a different player. That's interesting. Travis Jones, I drafted Travis Jones
in the shadow draft
as the second round version of Jordan Davis. I think that would have worked out a little bit better, but that's okay. So here's what Fran says about Derrick Harmon, because I think he's someone that we do need to consider as a real possibility.
Sure.
Lined up primarily as a 3 or 4 eye technique. On third downs, he kicked down as a head up. 0 technique on their rush fronts, and they even put him out at defensive end in some exotic looks. Tall, with a thick, long, muscular frame, well-built kid who uses his frame to his advantage. Rebuilt his body after transferring in from Michigan State last offseason. Here's what Michigan State offensive lineman Luke Newman said about him at the Shrine Bowl. We went over in film all week before playing him, but he's so good at using his length and getting good extension on blockers. He's very good at using his size to get by people and shed guys. I'm reading the blue here. Had more TFLs, sacks, hits, and hurries this year than he did the previous 3 combined, and saw his pressure rates increase dramatically this fall. Good movement skills, stout on contact. The only red will benefit from a deeper rush plan and too many missed tackles in his career. The one thing that you do have to keep in mind with Derrick Harmon, Zach, the Eagles might think they have a bit of an edge here because Derrick Harmon this year playing on the West Coast, not everybody was up for those games.
That's a good point. Although Oregon played a lot of games.
Yeah, they did play a lot of Big Ten games. Yeah.
But if I can say one thing about Oregon, because Harmon is a good player, but what I had wondered is if like Jordan Birch can be moved inside and is more of like the Milton Williams type, because there are a few edge rushers. There are a few edge rushers here who I don't see them as like your stand-up edge rushers in the Eagles scheme. But I wonder if they can be that Milton Williams type role. And, Birch is one. Savion Jones is a guy, he was more of an edge guy. But Jordan Birch strikes me as like he's an intriguing interior player when you talk about potential for being disruptive. And so I'm that's the Oregon guy I was thinking about.
I will jump around here because I will go to Tyleik Williams from Ohio State, who is Fran's defensive tackle 6. He is Dane's defensive tackle 5. Oh, did he move him? Oh, because Harmon jumped up, so he goes to defensive tackle 7. So he goes to defensive tackle 7. He's Dane's defensive tackle 5. Report out today that the Eagles have brought in or are planning to bring in Tyleik Williams for a pre-draft 30 visit, which we know means a lot for the Eagles. And I view Tyleik Williams as someone who might be a Howie Roseman type, 6'3", 334, 34-inch arms, just under that. Didn't test at the combine, but we're talking about a bigger fella. This is more of a Jordan Davis thing. But there's something about him, and I don't know if it's we're learning too much of championship caliber defenses, like they're going to go to that. I actually think that they might not like the Ohio State program quite as much as the SEC programs. However, I think Tyleik Williams is a player who they would like. I will just note he's got a red flag on short arms.
I think short arms is relative. I am with you. Williams is a player that I really like. I think there's versatility there, like a real big presence in the middle of the line. I thought he was disruptive when he needed to be. So he's someone who I have higher than Fran. I like him more than the Tennessee D tackle who Fran had.
It's a totally different type of player.
Yes, yeah, but I'm saying like if I'm setting my D tackle board, I have Williams probably 3 or 4 here.
And it is Tyleik Williams. It's not William Tyleek's.
It's definitely not William Tyleek's.
Got it.
From Manassas, Virginia.
Oh,
I like Manassas.
Yeah. What? Tell me about Manassas.
Northern Virginia. Kind of on the way down to from DC to Charlottesville. You pass Manassas.
Got it. Easy name to remember.
Manassas, yes. I believe there's a Wegmans right there, if memory serves. That Yeah, I might have picked up my groceries at on the way back from Charlottesville.
The flag for the town of Manassas is just a bunch of men mooning.
I see what you did there, but no, that is not the case.
Man asses.
No, I'm familiar. I put that joke together.
There you go.
You know, I noticed on the drive-in 2 days ago that there's a comedy show. There's a comedy club right here. Did you know that?
Where?
In the alleyway right here. There's a comedy club. Swear to God, not making this up. I don't know if this just opened, but there's a comedy club here. And there's no drink minimum for the comedy club, but that's
You're a fan of comedy.
I swear to God, that's what the sign says. When you come up, you come up a different direction than I do. When you come up, am I allowed to say the street name or no?
Yeah, I'm trying to not have you dox our specific location, but that's okay.
Okay. The number street. When you come north on the number street.
Yeah.
Okay. I make a right in that alleyway. And then I pull into a park. I know what you're talking about. Parking lot.
Would you get yourself together with your NASA water bottle?
Wow, that was almost very bad.
Yeah, it could have been a disaster.
Good thing it's a good water.
That's how much he loves comedy. He's willing to throw his laptop away.
So, funny story about that water bottle.
Okay,
let's say. All right, now I will own this. I will wear this. Okay.
This doesn't have to be a bad thing.
So we're at the Space Center. Okay, when we were away, and Sloan was thirsty. And,
okay, I see.
Yeah, and I go to I go to the store there, and the only water that they sell is this water bottle here.
Okay,
and I go and pay for it, and it's like $4. And I'm like, $4? This is out of this world. Are you kidding me? They didn't laugh at that joke. They probably heard it before. And I said to Emily, I was like, if I'm spending this on a water bottle, I'm going to use it. I said, so I'm looking at it. It's reusable, right? And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to use this water bottle again. And so I've used this now in the car ever since. But the person at the front, she did not laugh at my joke.
Money doesn't exist on vacation.
Money exists. Yes, it does. You sound like Emily here. Yes, it very much does. But
$4 for a big water bottle.
Then I said, I
didn't buy any eggs.
I made another joke there.
Okay.
Because I told Emily the joke. And then
you repeated the joke.
Yeah. And I was like, she didn't laugh. And I was like, she must have spaced out. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
You tell them about Rocket Sanders?
Did not come up that day. I thought it was Rock at the time. So.
Okay. All right. That was good.
But no. Tyleik Williams is a good player.
Okay. All right. We got a lot more guys to do, but we got to take one more break. Much more coming on the other side. And let us know if there are any defensive tackles that you like in the chat. We'll make sure we talk about them. Okay. Let's talk about our friends at Parx Casino. Bet Parx Online. Fantastic. And one thing that's great about the Bet Parx app is you can play all the same games you'd love to play at the Parx Casino on your phone. All the games you love to play in person, like pop culture slots, roulette, cards, dice games, and more, can also be played on the Bet Parx app. Parx Online Casino has the games you love, whether you're at home or on the go. Download the Bet Parx app and create an account today to receive an offer that you can't pass up. New users are eligible to receive up to $1,000 back if you are down in the first 24 hours after signing up. Bet Parx Online Casino is available to Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, and Michigan residents. Terms and conditions apply. Parx Casino, this is how you win. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
So I'm trying to live longer, and I have a confession to make that the idea of not sleeping as much, banking more hours into your day, that's not a good recipe for it, because you might not be as cogent a thinker as you want to be during that time. So you need your sleep.
Yes.
And you need some other things too. And one way to live longer is with Timeline, okay? And you might be saying, what is Timeline? Well, that's what I want to tell you. Timeline sells health and longevity supplements featuring their proprietary MitoPure ingredient. MitoPure works with the cells in your body to help reverse age-related decline. The benefits include increased strength, energy, and endurance. They've done 15-plus years of research, and they've secured 30-plus U.S. patents for their product. Now, the patent ingredient is MitoPure, and I don't want to sound like I'm in Mr. Rittenhouse's science class, okay? So I will explain what this postbiotic nutrient...
Mrs. Plog.
Ms. Plog was my history teacher in 9th grade. Very good history teacher.
Shout out Ms. Plog.
Yes. And so the patent ingredient is MitoPure postbiotic nutrients that clears out dysfunctional mitochondria, which is known as your cell's battery packs. With regular use, you'll see the difference in the form of improved energy, better workouts, faster recovery, more endurance, and so much more. MitoPure recharges your cells and helps your body system work better. Get ready to be your best, most energized, most revitalized you. Right now, Timeline is giving you 10% off your order of MitoPure. Go to timeline.com/PHLY today to get started. That's timeline.com/PHLY.
Okay. I think between Walter Nolen, Kenneth Grant, who probably less so, given his profile, Tyleik Williams, Derrick Harmon, those are the realistic possibilities at 32 or within a 10-pick range or so. The only other one who I think is worth considering, and this is probably more of a trade-down candidate, is TJ Sanders from South Carolina, who also has been in for a top 30 visit with the Eagles. He will be 22 as a rookie. 9.5 sacks in his career, 4.5 last season, 6'4", 300 pounds, 33-inch arms, big hands. Had fine jumps for his size, 31, not great, but fine. And this is a player who, I don't know if you spent some time watching him or not, Zach. To me, this was similar to Harmon, like a little bit unspectacular, but good at everything. I think I kind of liked him relative to consensus a little bit more than Harmon, and I could see him making sense more likely with that second pick, I think.
Yes, I think a trade down situation would make sense in his case. I thought when I was doing some mock drafts last month, I was thinking, all right, this would be a good candidate round 2, maybe, if he were to get to round 3. But I think he's a second-round player. But he does make sense for the Eagles.
He's Fran's defensive tackle 12. Go ahead.
So Fran is obviously a little lower on him. He's another guy too. When you go back and you watch South Carolina, 2 years ago, Jordan Birch stood out maybe a little bit more.
The blue for TJ Sanders in Fran's write-up has been very productive on a per snap basis. Good athlete, impressive lateral movements, first step quickness to be a vertical player at the snap. Smooth athlete, drops into short zones and looks natural in space. The red gets rocked back too easily by heavy punches. On the ground a bit too often. Not good enough with his hands yet at the top of the rush. Plays too high into contact on both facets of the run game. In the pass game, effective looper on stunts. He's a player who I think I wish that the athletic testing were a little bit more impressive. Yes. Then I could sort of really be talked into him. But he did a pretty good job on the shuttle. I'm not blown away, but I think it's a realistic possibility. He is the kind of player who I think if the Eagles draft TJ Sanders, it tells us that they really wanted a defensive tackle. I don't think that he is the kind of player who is like, we just couldn't pass him up.
The value's too high. Yeah. That's fair. I agree with you there. That's a good assessment.
And I think that is probably also the case with Shemar Turner, who is the third defensive tackle, the last one that we know the Eagles have brought in or are planning to bring in for a pre-draft visit. He's also from Texas A&M. 2 Shemars from Texas A&M. What do you make of that?
Popular name.
He is Dane's defensive tackle 6, but he is Fran's defensive tackle 10? 9, defensive tackle 9, Shemar Turner. Also talked about in that second, third round range. Do you have any thoughts on Shemar Turner?
Yeah, I like him, or I like his upside a little bit more than Sanders. Not as big, but when he's
6'3", 290.
Yeah, so he's probably similar to me to his former college teammate Walter Nolen in terms of the playing style. And it's that penetrating, one gapping style that I think where he could thrive. The athletic profile's there. I mean, certainly the pedigree, former big time recruit, all those Texas A&M guys were like 5 stars, top of the class. They
had a lot of cash to dole out.
It was known when they at one point. This was not Shemar Turner's class. This was Walter Nolen's class. It was considered the best recruiting class ever. I think they had 5 defensive linemen who were like the top 5 defensive linemen in the country. Maybe were all going to A&M, and then they all didn't stay there, of course, right? But Shemar Turner is, I like Shemar Turner more than Fran does. I probably am leaning more toward the athleticism there and kind of the projection that you talked about with Howie.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would say the same thing, is that if they draft Shemar Turner, it tells me that they did really want a defensive tackle and not that they love the player that much, even though they're bringing him in. I'm sure he's someone that they're actually considering. All right, let's sort of buzz through the rest of Fran's top 10 and maybe the other consensus top 10 guys. So you are calling Fran a I don't want to say moron. I don't want to put words.
Definitely
in your
not
mouth,
calling him a moron. No,
but dummy. Is that fair for his Omarr Norman-Lott love?
Oh no, I'm not calling him a dummy at all.
Okay.
I'm not calling him a dummy at all. I mean,
blind.
No, look, this is the great thing is you can disagree. Like I was watching the show yesterday. I saw someone have a comment that like Fran and Zach don't agree on any players this year. I'll defer to Fran. Fran's grinding the film far more than I am here. But when I watch that Tennessee defense, like I don't know how you come away not being more impressed with James Pierce and less impressed with
Norman-Lott is interesting. He is a very specific type of player. He's a smaller defensive tackle. Yeah. Now I love a squatty defensive tackle.
Do you?
Oh, fantastic.
Okay.
6'2", 291, and he was a rotational player for them. Never was a full-time starter. Now they rotated a lot of guys, but I mean, you really do see him shoot the gap. And I think the athleticism backs that up a little bit. I think he could be a really effective third down edge rusher. I certainly would trust Fran way more than my own analysis here, but I like what I see. He is going to be 23 years old as a rookie. I'm not so sure that the Eagles would view him as more than a 3rd or 4th round caliber player.
Agreed. That Tennessee D line was hard because they rotated guys in and out so often. I don't dislike these squatty players. If you remember a few years ago, Kalaya Kansey was a player was a player that I was especially high on. I thought he was an exception. I don't feel that way here.
The big fellas who we haven't talked about yet. So your Alfred Collins from Texas, 6'6", 332. Jamari Caldwell, who's 25 years old. I don't know if we need to spend too much time on him. Cam Jackson from Florida, who's 6'6", 330. Yeah. And then, I don't want to talk about him yet, but we will get to your boy, Deon Walker. But of the day 2 big guys, do you have a preference between Alfred Collins, Cam Jackson, Jamari Caldwell?
I think Collins is more of the all-around D tackle there of that group. I think Jackson would make a lot of sense for me. Day 3, at 4th round pick as your Jordan Davis backup and potential replacement for that role. I think Cam Jackson, he's an early down nose tackle, and I think he would fit that role really well. You're not drafting Cam Jackson to really penetrate the quarterback. So those would be now.
I kind of liked watching Cam Jackson. I would rather have Cam Jackson in the 4th than Alfred Collins in the 2nd.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
One player you did not put in there, do you not consider him part of this group, is Josh Farmer from Florida State.
I like Josh Farmer a little bit. Now, he's got some real go-go gadget reachers, 35-inch arms, and I think you sort of see that.
Yes.
He strikes me as specifically the Eagles kind of player on day 3, a guy with unique traits. He's going to be 22 years old as a rookie.
A really big guy, too, as well.
6'4", 305, but he's got really long arms. Ran slow, didn't jump very well. But I could sort of see that because he's a specific role. I think back to, it's like the Johnny Wilson. This guy is unique. He is Dane's defensive tackle 10, and he's further down Fran's board, I think, at 18. I don't know when it would be right for me, but I could see him filling a specific role for the Eagles.
Yeah, he's someone who, of those guys, I liked him a lot more than, I shouldn't say a lot more than Collins, but I thought Farmer was underrated.
Okay. All right. Give me your chance to stump for your boy, Deon Walker, who is enormous.
Yeah, enormous.
6'7.5", 331. 34 and a quarter inch arms, very terrible vertical jump at the combine, but that's okay. Had a 7.5 sack season last year. Right. Yeah. Well, whatever it is, 2022. But last fall was not so productive, and he has sort of plummeted down boards. He has actually even further down Dane's board at defensive tackle 19 than Fran's. You like him a lot.
Well, a lot's relative.
Well, I mean,
I'm not spending my second round pick on him,
sure.
my first round pick on him, but I like him more than consensus because this is, look, we all have certain things that we go to during the draft process, whether it's philosophies or phrases. And one thing I'll talk about often is optimum performance, right? Which you can't necessarily count on, but when you see him at his best, what is he? You didn't see it as much last year at Kentucky. 2 years ago, and one game that really jumps to mind, and I actually watched it back and prep for this, not the whole game, I watched highlights of it and prep for the show, I think it was the Gator Bowl. It was against Clemson. It was the bowl game. And when he gets going, when he gets moving, he is like, he's hard to stop. Like it's hard to get in his way, and he has some juice to how he runs. Now that says there are times when he gets pushed back when he shouldn't get that for a 6'7", 330, 340 pound guy. You talk about you can't teach size. You can't teach size. Obviously, he is incredibly imposing. He didn't test well, but just if you watch like the 2-3 year sample of his film, you can find clips of him playing the edge. You can find clips of him dropping in the coverage. Like, he was a real versatile player. He was not just someone who they said stand over the center and push the center back. He was used all across that line of scrimmage, which shows me that there's some football quickness and football athleticism there. I think that the high watermarks that he has, the optimum performance, is a starting level player in the NFL. And there aren't that many guys you're talking about in that 3rd, 4th, 5th round range. You're saying this guy can become a starting level player in the NFL.
Now, listen, all of that stuff you're talking about, you would need to be a hubristic organization to think that you're the team that could get the most out of him. I think the Eagles would be a team like that. I don't think that that's crazy. I get a little bit wary when there is a player who clearly athletically and size-wise is like has everything you want.
Yep.
Was that productive in the SEC? Like, certainly seems like everybody should want him, and consensus is this far down on him. I just feel like most people must be right there, but maybe not.
I want to read you the last, and
it's kind of like it's kind of like Vontaze Burfict or Taylor Mays. Sometimes those guys do turn out to be. Everybody else was wrong,
and sometimes they don't. Yeah. So this is from Bob McGinn from Go Long TD, Tyler Dunn's website, and this is from one. I want to emphasize this is from one scout, right? So one scout does not speak for the league. One scout's just one person. But I thought this line here really stood out to me, and it speaks to what you said about the hubris of an organization. Sometimes he says it's still a big man's game, and he has some ability when he wants to. He just needs the right environment. He'll probably end up in Philly and be great. Yeah. That was the line. And that kind of speaks to what I was saying is that, and how you kind of started the show too, is the Eagles gamble on traits at this position. And you can't teach 6'7", 328, and the type of movement ability that has allowed him to play along the line. So even if the consistency is not there on film, if you think you have one of the top D-line coaches in the league, which they think they have in Clint Hurt. And Clint Hurt is a hard ass, right? He'll coach you up. He will coach you up. And I think there's so if you kind of put him in that environment, you put him in a culture that they think can maximize a player, whatever he has there, he can potentially get that out of him.
Okay. I don't think it's crazy. All right. Should we spend any time on Darius Alexander from Toledo, who some people love, and he had a great Senior Bowl by all accounts. I mean, we can't be taking the 25-year-old from Toledo. I know we just had Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo, and then people will connect those dots. It's not a Toledo thing. It's just 25 years old, and at Toledo, he never had more than 4 sacks in a season. I can't do it.
Is there a guy down the list who you really like? Because there is a guy that I like a lot.
Tell me who your guy is, and I'll tell you. I'll give you a few.
So
let me just make sure we went through all the top guys. Mason Graham, Walter Nolen, Omarr Norman-Lott, Kenneth Grant, Alfred Collins, Tyleik Williams, Derrick Harmon, Cam Jackson, Shemar Turner, Darius Alexander, TJ Sanders, Joshua Farmer. Okay, we're good.
I got to tell you, I enjoyed watching this Notre Dame defense, and Riley Mills.
I got to tell you, I kind of like Riley Mills too.
Yeah. Now he has a knee injury.
Yeah. Now what was it? Was it a torn ACL or it's just a vague knee injury?
Yeah, vague knee injury. So I don't know the health, and of course that's a factor here. I also don't think you shouldn't not draft someone because they have a knee injury. You know, if he has to miss camp, right? That like you're taking a long-term play.
Round 7.
Yeah. Riley Mills to me is like first of all, I like the length, I like the movement ability. He was really productive. He can play multiple spots along the line of scrimmage. I liked Riley Mills. And then someone who was this guy doesn't have the athleticism, but on that Notre Dame line, Howard Cross, if he's like an undrafted free agent, he's the kind of guy you bring in, and he just knows how to play football, right? He's the son of a 10-year pro, and to me, he was just always kind of productive when he was out there.
David Cross, the comedian? Who's his father?
Howard Cross.
Oh,
yeah,
got it.
A tight end.
You wanted to talk about Yahya Black from Iowa.
Well, first off, great name.
Yeah.
Similar to me.
Any relation to Yahya Tittle?
I don't believe so. Can't confirm that.
That was good delivery.
Believe so. Similar to how we talked about Cam Jackson. I think that if the Jordan Davis
6'6", 330, 35-inch arms.
Yeah, the Jordan Davis experience teaches you something. Like we said, that for your nose tackle, if you're not counting on the pass rush ability, if you're just kind of looking at the space eating component of it, and can he help you on those early downs, you're looking at that more day 3, and that's where Black comes in. And since it's similar to Jackson, I think he can fill that type of role. I mean, not a great athlete, but great size, great length.
A good point made about Darius Alexander in a roundabout way in the chat. It would be funny if the Eagles drafted a guy from Toledo a year after drafting Quinyon Mitchell, and the guy they drafted a year after Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo was actually several years older than Quinyon Mitchell. It would be a little bit like how the Eagles drafted Quinyon Mitchell, a cornerback, a year after drafting Keely Ringo, and yet Keely Ringo was actually a year younger than Quinyon Mitchell.
Well done. I'm glad we brought that meter back. I was watching yesterday's show. I like the way you framed it. I think you were a little hard on yourself about like eliminating it totally if you miss a day. Let me ask you this, though, because invariably, for good reason.
By the way, where are we right now? We're in overtime. All right, go ahead.
I did have the question. For very good reason, you will be missing a decent amount of shows in the next few months.
Yeah, it's
right?
like a soft strike.
Okay, yes. Well, so I'm saying, is the streak host agnostic, if you will?
Good question.
Right? Or is it like the streak continues when you're here?
That's a good question. Julia, what do you think? Is the onus going to be on you to keep it up? I don't know. I don't want to put that on your shoulder.
Yeah, when I'm hosting, I have so many things going through my mind. Yeah.
I would appreciate that, but it's I mean, I what? You don't have to.
Okay. Some great names among the D tackles, by the way.
Yes, one of the good names is a player I kind of like.
Tonka Hemingway.
Now that's a great name.
Okay,
but that was not the one I was going to say. Aeneas Peebles.
Ah, yes. You like these short, stocky D tackles.
I love a short defensive. Are you kidding me?
Elijah Qualls is so proud right now.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it wasn't a very good player, but I loved the body type. Aeneas Peebles, 6'1.5", 282, 31 3/8 arms, ran a 4.95, and transferred from Duke to Virginia Tech. I really liked watching him. I'm not saying I would use more than a 6th or 7th round pick on him, but I liked what I saw from Aeneas Peebles. Now he's going to be 25 years old. You're 24 years old, so. I'm not running the valet card in, but no. I kind of liked him.
Okay.
Now let me tell you. Well, you had more names that you wanted to talk about.
Zeek Biggers. You like that, don't you? That's a good name.
Related to EJ?
I actually don't know.
Mm.
Javari Ritzy.
Mm.
Yes.
I did start going through the name guide.
Oh, yes.
Or the Dane guide to see, start combing names. I may still have to do it.
I think you have to. I mean, I was once in the hospital room writing about OTAs. You can write the name guide.
No, I'm not writing it from the hospital, but if I can get it in before then.
Okay. I mean,
just because you once wrote about OTAs from the hospital doesn't mean that I'm going to do that.
Like, there's a lot of waiting. I am
not holding myself to your standards.
There's a lot of waiting when you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
very human experience. Actually, one of the few times when it is nice that you can completely unplug and really focus on the only thing that matters.
Okay. Fair. I mean,
it is a gift in that way.
I mean, yeah, but it's like you're kind of sitting around waiting, right? So
a pretty major life event.
A huge life event, but not the waiting. Not
if it's no OTAs.
Okay. We don't need to go down that discussion. There was two of the best days of my life.
Do you like a JJ Pegues?
The name or the player?
The player.
Can have him or not. I mean, doesn't. Yeah.
I kind of liked him. Scored 7 touchdowns this year.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Gave him the ball. I like him. He's got a little penetrating wiggle to him, I thought. And then I just wanted to call out who else might fit the day 3 Howie type. Jordan Phillips from Maryland.
Yeah, good athlete.
Good athlete who had no production as a pass rusher, although I think brings some real run defense juice. Is a player who I think could make sense for the Eagles on day 3. And there's really not a lot else out there. Jay Toya from UCLA, but there's a bit of a harrowing video of him on an elevator.
Ooh.
That is not fun. So I don't know. Jordan Phillips is the guy who I'm earmarking as the Howie day 3 guy.
And he's also the youngest of the defense tackles in this draft. So he's the more OG.
And it's an easy projection because there's already a defensive tackle in the league named Jordan Phillips.
Totally different player, though. But
yeah, but I mean, it's easy. He's 1-to-1.
Sure. And then I just want to reiterate a point that I made earlier in the show, which is some of these edge rushers who I can see playing. I don't want to say inside, but playing as D linemen.
Well, because then you're solving 2 problems at once, right? You're backfilling a little bit of Josh Sweat and a little bit of Milton Williams.
Exactly.
Right?
So Birch is one of those guys. And then Savion Jones from LSU, who there's not a lot of film on him on the inside. He was mostly an edge guy, but you're talking about like a 280-pound player. And, I saw this the speech that Vic Fangio gave. Did you see this? Vic Fangio he got an award this past week, and he gave a speech.
No.
Yeah, Mike Quick was moderating.
Nice.
And it was some good insight there. But he was kind of retelling the Zach Bond story that he's told a few times, and he keeps.
Don't put a ceiling on a player.
Yeah, but his version's very much like Howie. Howie had a specific vision for him.
Yeah,
and he was feeling himself a bit, in a good way. Like this worked out. This guy's a defensive player of the year candidate. And Mike Quick's like, how did you know? He's like, well, there weren't a lot of snaps, but there were like 3 or 4 snaps there when the tight end went into motion, and he had to play off ball, and you just saw it then, right?
Crazy.
And so, like Savion Jones, there aren't that many snaps there, but I'm curious, like when you see some of those times that he's lined up inside the tackle, do you think there can be some penetration there? So those are 2 guys. It's like an old Madden trick where you move the edge rusher inside, the D tackle, and their rating goes like from like an 82 to an 87. Right. Or something like that. You kind of wonder if something like that can happen here.
I think the other player to keep in mind there is Elijah Roberts from SMU, who was brought in for a visit.
Yep.
And is 6'4", 285.
Yep.
And has long arms, and I think really profiles as that guy who more than likely slides inside.
Well said. And as an example of that, though, wasn't Moro Ojima originally kind of viewed as kind of that type of player? He might be able to play on the edge. He might be able to play inside.
I don't remember that. But
okay.
I trust you.
Okay. Sometimes it's like this guy's a 4-3 defensive end, right? A strong side defensive end and a 4-3. So.
Okay. What else you got going on? We're in overtime. We get to relax now. Take a load off.
Yeah. I'm doing well. Busy with work and and it's tax season, getting those in order.
Yeah.
And
monitoring your stocks.
Monitor. I mean, I'm like a lot of people.
Listen, you're gonna be hold on to that water bottle for a long time.
Paying attention to the market. But no, I need to. Emily has texted me on the show. I don't know if she's watching it. She's like, "You need to sleep when you get home." So, do I look tired today?
No, actually, okay. I think you look okay today.
Thank you. I'm trying to bring the juice.
Yeah, there have been days that you've looked tired.
Vince said I looked tired when I came in today.
Okay, well,
but no,
you don't look like that one day this year where you got really good sleep and had a fantastic show.
I'm trying to bring the juice. Like because I don't want to compromise any of my draft stuff. So I am doing the players, so to speak, or watching the players, evaluating the players. We'll have some stuff on allphly.com leading up to the draft, but really we got the top draft expert in the game right now.
Do you have any other just sort of like floating Eagles draft thoughts that are in your mind when you lay your head down on the pillow?
Yeah, well, I didn't know yesterday that we were going to do D tackles today. I was preparing for safety 2 days ago. I really like the safety class more than I typically do. There's some safeties here in like day 2, day 3 who intrigue me, and I don't know that range, but I typically don't love the safety class, and I like this group. The group, interestingly, that I've done the least amount of work on, relatively speaking, is wide receiver. Is cornerback. And the Eagles have brought in cornerbacks. Jeff McClain had a report today of a corner they brought in. So maybe that's a spot I got to look at a little bit more, but I haven't really thought as much about the corners. I will get to it. I really don't like this quarterback class at all. Like, it's hard to find that guy who I'm like, pounding the table for as a sleeper. There's one guy who I think can kind of do it, but no, I don't love that class. But I'm curious to hear Howie's perspective on a handful of things. I'm hoping to speak with him next week.
Yeah,
and try to get a sense of some of the things about this class.
We have a super chat from Fresh Prince who says, "So Dane Brugler loves strip clubs." Not so sure I know anything about that.
What's that in reference to?
It's when in the very beginning
of
Vegas or James Harden.
What are Fran and James Harden have in common? Yeah.
I'll tell you what Dane Brugler doesn't love. I don't think I'm speaking out of school here. Vegetables.
No. Do you?
Yeah, I like vegetables. Yeah.
What's your favorite vegetable?
In what context? My favorite vegetable to eat?
Are there, as opposed to what?
Juggle.
Do you juggle vegetables?
Just look at.
Look at? Are vegetables good to look at?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite vegetable to look at?
To look at?
Yes.
I mean,
what's your favorite vegetable to eat? How about that? That's typically what I do with vegetables. Yeah.
Oh, Julie's got
a guide.
Now, here's the thing. The one that I think is the funniest to look at, I am not making this joke, but I think it is the eggplant. It is a funny vegetable to look at.
Speaking of eggplant, I have a question for you.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
This could go anywhere.
The suit that Jalen Hurts wore on Super Bowl Sunday, I was trying to describe that suit writing-wise, and I described it as plum, okay? I wrote plums. I didn't want to write purple. I want to be a little more descriptive, and I wrote plum. And then when I was reading about the suit, I saw a fashion magazine describe it as eggplant. Do you call that eggplant or plum?
I'm looking at it now. Now, here's the thing. The problem with plum is that plum is also an adjective in its own right.
Okay.
And it's a bit old school. Like, oh, he's wearing a plum old suit.
Okay.
I would say I don't think you're wrong on plum. It's a little. I'm not sure I would go eggplant either. It's a little bit lighter than that.
Should I go purple?
It's very Barney.
Barney purple suit? Okay, I can do Barney purple. You know what? The good thing too, that as a word, right? It gets you closer to 70,000. So.
It's also like Vikings purple.
Okay. And then I was thinking of going Prince purple suit.
Oh.
Would that be a good description? A Prince purple, and would that be a reference people understand?
I think I wouldn't say Prince purple. I would say you would say something like Jalen looked a little bit like Prince in his purple suit.
Okay.
I wouldn't use Prince to modify the purple.
Sure.
I would say it describes Jalen, and then you just mentioned that it's a deep purple.
Okay. And then would you call it a collarless shirt, or is there a specific name for that type of shirt that he's wearing underneath it?
Huh. I would. Yeah, that's interesting. I would say. I mean, it's kind of like a. It's like if Prince was a priest, because it's that kind of collar.
Yeah.
Right. I wouldn't say collarless, because collarless implies that it's like a V or something like that.
But there's no collar on the shirt.
But it still goes across the neck, right?
Okay. So is there a specific type of name for the shirt?
I don't know. That I don't know.
Because I saw it described as collarless, but then I didn't want the people to think it was the t-shirt look either.
Right, exactly.
Right? So a collarless button down, you could say? Maybe? Anyways, this is
helpful.
Yeah. I gotta say
Royal purple, that's not bad. Go ahead.
So I was working on the Super Bowl chapter, and Emily said, "Did you finish it?" And I said,
"Honestly, it's the same color as your water bottle."
Now this is more bluish, I think. Is it?
I think this is purple.
It's purple. Okay. I said, actually,
it looks blue on the screen.
I said I made a lot of progress on writing about them getting to the stadium, like the pregame warm-ups, and I mean,
like the whole game to get to.
But I mean, I have the whole thing. I have Bradley Cooper in there. And the kid that Bradley Cooper's holding, and a little bit of a story there,
like that,
in there.
Earmark that, because it makes me. I have a take, but go ahead.
Okay, I have the background of Nick Sirianni crying. I have a reference to the Zach Kiefer story from the Super Bowl, where Nick Sirianni was sitting on the bench and he wanted players to come over to show how loose he was. So I mean, there's 3 different versions of the mic'd up that's out there that you're able to kind of put different things together. So plus, I was observed. So I had stuff in my photo roll from the Super Bowl that I included. I have references to like the amount of Eagles fans that are there. So yeah, so it was a good, here's like 700 words on the time that Jalen Hurts got onto the bus to the coin toss, and Brandon Graham talking crap to Patrick Mahomes, and they're ready to go.
Okay. My Bradley Cooper take is, I don't know about you guys. I don't know if I've said this on the show before. But the way that game played out, and the way that John Hamm did the pregame introduction and was just totally pantsed in that situation. He used to be this like vision of like really cool guy. I cannot look at John Hamm like the same way.
Why is that?
Because he just got totally violated on the biggest stage. He was completely cucked in that game. I view him as like his star level has come down so far just because of the way that Super Bowl played out. Even his introduction was a little bit like Melvin-y in that situation. And then the game, like his team just gets run over. Like, no, he's all of a sudden, his cool meter has dropped like half to me.
Okay. I still think he's cool, but he's also he plays cool characters. John Hamm doesn't typically play like uncool characters, right? So you associate the character.
Speaking of eggplants, though, I mean, John Hamm.
I don't get it.
Famously well endowed.
Oh, okay. How do you know that?
Everybody knows that.
I did not know that until 3/16 on April 9th or 8th or 9th.
I thought that was common knowledge.
I got to say, on a separate topic here. Okay, can we move on from John Hamm?
Yeah.
I have received some nice messages from some people who listen to the show who are in Colorado and the Denver area.
Oh.
And they were asking for some details because I had mentioned that I'm going to be out there this month. And I do have some details on this. Is that I'm lucky that I'll be sitting on a panel with Sheil Kapadia and Lindsey Jones Paul, about, I'm probably the outlier here. I mean, they're two exceptional reporters, but I'm excited to do this.
We don't need the false modesty.
No, so it's at Colorado State next week. It's the Speaker Series, April 17th, 4 to 6 local time. And we'll be speaking about our careers. We'll be speaking about the state of media. That's at Canvas Stadium out on Colorado State's campus. So really excited for that. And I know, there were 3 different people who were in the Denver area who wanted to know the details, and we were able to put those details out today. So it's free to anyone who wants to come. Please come by. Or it's open to the public. It's open to the public. I don't know if there's a cost associated, but I know it's open to the public.
Okay. That sounds great.
Yes.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Going to miss being here in studio, but I will be hopefully doing the show remote.
And thank God Steve Adazio is not there anymore.
Yeah. Nico Medved's not there anymore either. But
where'd he go?
He went to Minnesota.
Oh,
well, you probably like their new coach.
Tell me.
I'm going to butcher the last name. Ali Faroukamash.
Farouk Manesh?
Yeah,
the guy who hit that shot?
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
he's there. He's their new head coach.
Nice.
He's their new head coach.
Where was he?
He was their lead assistant, and he took over for Nico Medved.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
Okay. Who's their football coach?
Their football coach is Jay Norvell, or Jay Norvell.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. That's a name I know.
Yeah, him and Deion Sanders kind of got into it a bit. The Colorado State game a few years ago.
Steve wants to know how the second sandwich was at the place that you recommended down in Palm Beach. It was good, nowhere near as good as the other one. It was just a standard fare turkey BLT with avocado. Here's a take. I don't need avocado on my turkey sandwich. I don't like avocado in a sandwich that much. It's the texture is too mushy.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
And
I don't like avocados
it takes
in general.
away from the other stuff.
I think avocados are overrated.
Zach?
Oh, I like that. Look at that. That's awesome.
Peace in the Middle East.
Yes, finally. Now, I don't mind a guacamole.
Yeah, I like a guacamole.
But you got to spice it up a little bit. But I
give me the onions, give me the crunch, give me the jalapeno, give me the cilantro.
I find avocado to be bland.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take an avocado, but there's people who make avocado their whole personality. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't like an avocado. Don't like cutting the avocado either.
I don't mind cutting avocado. It's a good one for the kids. It's a lot of good health benefits from an avocado, but taste wise, I'm okay.
I actually think it sometimes takes away from the sushi roll when the avocado's in the roll.
I don't like an avocado. Yeah. Now, Rachel is allergic to avocado, so
I didn't realize that. Okay.
which is nice because for the sushi we don't need it. I would prefer give me a nice little jalapeno in there.
Speaking of having the baby, that was the sushi was I came through in the clutch there.
Oh, that was Emily's.
That was the first meal.
That she wanted.
That was the first meal. So she had both of our kids about 5 blocks that way.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 8 blocks.
Okay.
Jefferson? No, Pennsylvania Hospital.
Oh, that's a little bit further.
Is it? It's. I can say it, but I don't want to give our.
I know where the location is.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But I walked right over to. I think it was Fat Salmon was the sushi place.
Oh, Fat Salmon. Yeah. That place has been around a long time.
Yeah, got her because more sushi than one could possibly eat. But that was the treat because she didn't have sushi when she was pregnant. Well, the baby did not eat it. No. No.
Speaking of hospitals, I have another take for you.
Let's hear.
I don't need a doctor.
Where's this going? Period. In general.
I had my annual physical. But my old doctor,
okay?
my old doctor had retired. So this was like a blind date. I don't need a doctor significantly younger than me.
You're an ageist?
I'm a reverse ageist, and I don't need a doctor. I'm sorry. If you can't relate to to me in this situation, I'm not hearing it.
Wow. Okay. I mean,
I'm sorry.
They're not a pen pal.
Too spry.
It's their expertise. They're professional.
I'm not saying they're not experts. I'm just saying, like, I don't need. Come on, live a little bit of life first.
Oh, yeah. All right. I don't like this take. I mean, presumably he or she graduated from med school and right. So
well, actually, the one I had was still working on it. But
oh, okay. So all right. Well, that's not your like. Is that your regular doctor still in med school?
No, but
okay.
Well, I'm trying to do my part for.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
I don't know. We get sidetracked on stuff that doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
Like,
I have a doctor dilemma when my doctor's a great doctor. Friends with I'm friends with him, but he's like one of Emily's best friend's husbands, right? And so I knew him before he was my doctor.
Okay.
And you know me, I'm all about reverence, right? Like I want to be like,
sure.
I want to call you Dr. So-and-so,
yeah.
right? But he wants me to go by his first name because and so I'll say to Emily, I was talking to Dr. So-and-so. And she's like, don't call him that. I'm like,
that's very funny.
I'm like, I have to respect the position. It's like, you know, you respect the office, right? And so I respect the office.
I think you can just call him doctor when you're in the office.
Yes,
but I think when you're talking
to
Emily about her friend's husband, I think you can call him David or whatever his name is.
Yeah, it's not David, but yeah.
Oh, it was close. Yeah. Was it almost David?
No.
Jared.
There is an A and a D in there.
Okay, interesting. Now we got to figure this out.
You don't have to figure this out. We are an hour and 24 minutes into an April 9th show.
Jaden.
No.
Too old.
I do want to say, if you're with us here an hour and 24 minutes in, we appreciate that. Comment, like, please leave comments on Apple. We need some Apple Podcast comments because the most recent one there, I think it might not have been said tongue-in-cheek, but it was saying how I have to try harder than the mailbag episodes. It says, I love your show, but ZB, stop mailing it in with the mailbag episodes. And then I have this fear that our CEO is just going to like randomly go onto the thing one day. So yeah, let's add some comments in there, Spotify comments, YouTube comments, please. Rate, review, all that good stuff.
How many letters?
6.
Okay. And
I'll just tell you at this point.
No, it's more fun.
I don't know if it's more fun, to be honest with you.
Is the D at the end?
No. The D is the third letter.
Oh, the D is the third letter. Oh, that's off the board. First one in the chat that gets it gets our congratulations. Ladles.
No. Do you want to know the first letter?
Yeah,
I'll give you the last letter. Last letter is W.
Oh.
This is a common name. We work with someone who has this name.
Andrew.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, shouts out to Dr. Andrew. Dr. Drew. Dr. D.
I'm not going to say his last name. Great doctor. Great doctor. Yeah.
All right. He should advertise.
He should. Yeah. Great doctor.
All right. I guess that'll do it. Unless we want to stay here for another 45 minutes.
No. We're back tomorrow every day. Yes.
Tomorrow's going to be a fun one. We're talking tackles, and Brandon Thorne, the offensive line expert, is going to join us to talk about some guys who could be an option for the Eagles in round 1, round 2, round 3. The Eagles have brought in several players so far who could fit. For instance, Charles Grant from William and Mary.
I like Charles Grant.
Josh Connerly Jr. from Oregon. Anthony Belton from NC State. Jalen Travis. Zach broke that bad boy. And Marcus Bowe. There you go.
We should ask Coach Flynn about Jordan Travis, former Princeton Tiger.
There you go.
Yeah.
Here's a dilemma for me.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Flynn has been very generous over the years, has gifted some Princeton swag, and I wear these Princeton football sweatpants to drop off often. So I'm often walking around the neighborhood in Princeton football sweatpants, and it feels real stolen valor. And I feel
the Princeton part or the football part.
I feel Princeton judged.
Well, the Princeton part or the football part.
The Princeton part.
Gotcha.
Because the football is a little bit smaller type, but you recognize the P in the Princeton, and so I feel like I'm being viewed by people as a Princeton man for good or bad.
You don't feel you earned the Ivy League. You didn't earn the Ivy League credentials.
I went to Princeton baseball camp as a kid, but I don't think
Coach Bradley, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you didn't earn the Ivy League. Yeah.
No.
I see that. I used to wear a pen cap, and I feel like I didn't earn the right to wear Ivy League stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they would have been lucky enough to have me, no doubt about that. But it feels like false advertising.
Yeah. Well, you could just be a Princeton football fan.
I am.
But yeah, you just need to I thought you meant
a shirt that just has Coach Flynn's face on it.
Gotcha. Okay. Won't be on board there. I'd be on board there.
Okay.
All right. Good show. Let's wrap this up.
All right. Let's let the hostage free. That'll do it for this episode of the PHLY Eagles podcast. We will talk to you tomorrow. Same Zach time, same Zach channel, 2:00, talking tackles. For Julia, I'm Bo and Zach. We thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Comment below. Let us know what you think about doctors. And as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.